All right, week 5, as you can see, calculus. We're gonna do quizzes 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. But if it gets long, then we'll cut it. All right. So, but right now this is the assignment. So let's start with quiz 1. And okay, I'm gonna pause this so you can read it, and then we'll start. Okay, fine. I'll just read it. Princess Tower in Dubai is considered the world's tallest residential building, towering to 101 floors. T of N models the number of tenants living on floor N of the tower. What does the statement T of 60 is greater than T of 10 plus T of 30 mean? So in order to answer this question, we have to understand what our X and Y variables are, right? And so our X variable is that N, and the Y variable is T of N. So what does T of N represent? T of N models the number of tenants living on floor N. So this is number of tenants. And this is the floor. So this is, or people on 60, not 60 people, but people on floor 60, maybe I'll say floor 60, is greater than floor 10 people plus floor 30 people combined, right? So the people living on floor 60 by itself is greater than those two floors combined. So let's see which answer tells us that. The height, no. The number of people. There are more tenants on floor 60. Yeah, that's the one. All right. All right. Simba Travel Agency arranges trips for climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. For each trip, they charge an initial fee of $100. That is the y-intercept. So we know that. That's our B. In addition to a constant fee, for instance, the total fee for climbing 3,000 meters from the base is 400. Okay, let Y represent the total fee, and X is the vertical meters. And so they gave us the vertical meters, they gave us an X value, and they gave us a total fee of 400. They gave us a Y value. So they gave us a point, and they gave us a y-intercept, which is also a point, right, where the X is 0. So they gave us 2 points. So let me write that over here. And then what am I going to do with these 2 points? Of course, I'm going to find the slope. So that's a plus 3,000, and this is plus 300. Rise over run. Cancel out those zeros. So it's 3 over 30, which is 1/10. So my slope is 1/10. And of course, I know my y-intercept is 100. So we're going to write 0.1x, which is 1/10. And we got it. Look at that. Little slope intercept for you. Dag Gogo uploads 3 videos on his channel every month. So is that a slope? Sounds like a slope. Each video averages 15 minutes in length and gets an average of 150,000 new. Wow. Okay, so it sounds like 15, but I'm just guessing. The average ratio of likes to views is 1 to 5. Dago, he wants to reach 9 million views, and this is views, and this is minutes of minute video. Okay, and okay, and then 3 videos each month. Well, that is a different unit. So we have minutes, we have views, we have videos. And so we want to know how many likes. Oh, and then we even have likes. My goodness, there's a lot of units in this one. So assuming these rates continue, how many likes does Dagogo get on average for each minute of the video he uploads? All right, let me just, I got this, but I'm just gonna get some think time in here. I'll be right back. Okay, I think I got it. So we want the likes and we want the minutes, right? And we want to get the total likes and the total minutes. But in order to get the total likes, I think we can more easily get the total views first. And then we will use our ratio to get the likes. So what would the total views be? It's not 9 million, although that's a nice goal for him. We want to know, so each video gets that many new views, right? So we want to do 3 times the views, which is 4,500 total views. That was pretty easy. And the average likes to view ratio is 1 to 5. So times this by 1/5, and that will be our total likes. So 45. Oh, I already know it's gonna be like, it's gonna be 90,000. All right, 90,000. So then that would give us this ratio, right? So our total likes is 90,000. Now, how about the total minutes? So 15 minutes in length, and there's 3 of them. So that's 45 total minutes. All right, so then 90,000 divided by 45. 2,000. Wow. I don't know how he does that. What are these videos? But there you go. That's how you do it. Okay. Andre has a glass tank that he would like to fill with marbles and water. W of M models the amount of water he needs in liters and marbles. Okay, so we got the marbles on top, and then we got the amount of water. This is amount of water. This is marbles. Okay, so now I'm going to make sense of the problem here. 10 marbles, he needs 36.5. And then as he gets more marbles, he needs less water to fill up the tank. That makes sense. Marbles are displacing the water. When does the necessary amount of water decrease faster? Oh, well, you can do that. Just find the slope, right? Find the slope between each interval and compare the slopes. I'm sure you could do that. I'm moving on. Carter plays on the football team. He modeled a few relationships. The expression N of W of X represents which of the following? Okay, so W of X. What is W of X? The winning percentage. Is that right? So W of X is the winning percentage. So if we, and then N of W is the average fans per game. So if we substitute in the winning percentage to if we substitute in then it's basically going to tell us the number of fans per game based on the winning percentage. And so which one tells us that? The team's winning percentage as a function of the average? No. The average number of fans per game as a function of the number of rainy days? The average number of fans per game as a function of the team's average daily practice time. Oh, average daily practice time is X. Okay. But what about the winning percentage? This one is not including the team's winning percentage as a function of the average daily practice time. But what about the N, the number of fans? And oh, well, let's look. X is our independent variable, and X is our independent variable. In this one, W is the independent variable, and that's winning percentage. So X is the average daily practice time. And so it's either going to be team's winning percentage, team's average number of fans, and is the average number of fans. All right, let's give it a shot. See it. All right, average number of fans, because that N is on the outside, based on the team's average daily practice time. And so it is based on that, even though it does go through the W, a winning percentage, but that is not the independent variable. I'm not gonna lie, that was tricky, wasn't it? Okay, so what? So we have our slope intercept form here, right? Was the increase in price, and D is the, okay, so we got back to Simba's travel agency. Was the increase in price for every 100 meters climbed? So D is, what does D represent? D meters, right? So we can see that the price increases, right? Because the slope is positive. What is the slope? 0.12. What does that represent? That represents 12 cents per 1 meter. So we can just take that and we can set it equal to 100 meters. And then we just cross multiply. So X equals 12, right? So for every 100 meters, it'd be a $12 increase. All right. Hopefully that one wasn't too bad. Although it's very good to go back, and make sure that you understand the algebra 1, because when you do calculus, you're going to have to interpret your answers. Okay, so what is the volume of a cylinder? Come on now, you know the cylinder. You know the cylinder formula. All the volume formulas you want to think of as the base area. So find the area of whatever shape that base is and multiply it by the height. So we know the area is pi r squared, and we know the height is the height. So that's going to be 8 pi 3 squared. I'm sure you can do that. I'm not even going to take the time. Oh, I'll just pause the video. Well, no, I didn't have to pause long because I realized I can just put the exact answer, 72 pi. Okay, Stella's friends got her a skydiving lesson for her birthday. Her helicopter took off from the skydiving center, ascending at an angle of 37 degrees and traveled a distance of 2.1 kilometers before she fell in a straight line perpendicular to the ground. How far from the skydiving center did she land? Oh, so we just want to find the bottom side here. So let's not forget SOHCAHTOA, right? So what are we going to use? We have our hypotenuse. We want our adjacent. Let's use cosine. And we have degree measure. So let's make sure our calculator's in degree mode. I always like to put that over 1 and then just boom, boom, cross multiply. So X is equal to 2.1 times the cosine of 37. but we want to round our answer to the nearest hundredth. So that's fine. 1.68. Let's see if I got it. I got it. Okay. So when we have cones and pyramids, what is the difference? It is still for the volume base area times the height. There's one catch. You know what it is? You put a 1/3 in front. So then we have a square pyramid, right? 30s all around, and we know the height. And we want to fill it to half with soil. Okay, so we'll find the volume and then divide it by 2. Okay, so then the base area is 30 squared times 30, so that's 30 cubed, which would be 27 and then 3 zeros. But then we're multiplying it by 1/3, and then 1/3 of 27 is 9. Of course, I knew that. Okay, so then 9,000. That's the volume of that pyramid, 9,000. And then we want to take half of it. So that would be volume of half is 4,500. Feels so silly for multiplying 27,000 by 1/3. Oh, and now even worse here. Okay, let's click get help here. Oh, 15. Now, why did I use 30 and they use 15? Oh, because they cut the height into 15, and then they are calling half like up to the half line. So I see. I should have read the question closer. So now you can see that I found the volume of a 30 by 30, but if we're only going halfway up, then it's only going to be 15, a base area of 15, and then also a height of 15. But then don't forget the 1/3, and everything else would have been fine. 1,125. Even the great Mr. Field gets one wrong sometimes. But just make sure you understand your answer. Isabella is making a huge flag of her country, the Republic of Seychelles, on a canvas 20 by 10 meters long. To do that, she has to draw a diagonal line that begins at the bottom left corner and ends at the top side of the flag, 6.6 meters to the right. Since the ends are diagonal of the diagonal line are too far to put a ruler between them, Isabella wanted to find the angle of the diagonal and then draw it using a protractor. What is the angle in degrees? Okay. So you can do this. We talked about SOHCAHTOA, but what ratio do you think you're going to use here? Well, this is the hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent and opposite. So go ahead and find that tangent. Oh, we better do this one because we got to do the tan inverse, don't we? So the answer is going to be the inverse tangent of 6.6 over 10. And I'm checking to make sure we're in degree mode. We want to be in degree mode. And I'm rounding to the nearest 10th, 33.4. See if I got this one right. Okay. An ice cream company sells their product in a cylindrical container that is 16 centimeters tall and has a diameter of 14. Okay, so we have a cone. We have the dimensions of that cone. We're going to switch to a new container that's a rectangular prism. And they want to have the same volume. All right. Can you do this one? you could do this one. And this is good, you know, when we in calculus, you'll do a problem like this, but then you might need to find the derivative, you know, and then integrate it or something like that, all to solve a problem. So, okay, so we got it's this tall, our cylinder. So our base area, our diameter, which means our radius is 7. Okay, so what's the volume of that cylinder? The volume of the cylinder is going to be pi 7 squared times 16. So 49 times 16 is 784 pi. So we're going to stay in, you know, exact until the end. And then we're going to switch to a new container whose base is, so the prism, we don't know the height, but we know the base is 20 by 13. 20 times 13 is 260. So it's 260H. And we want those volumes to be equal. So we want that volume to be that volume. So we're going to do 784 pi has got to be equal to 260H. Luckily for us, pi is not a variable. So we're just going to divide both sides by 260. And then H is equal to 784 pi divided by 260. And 784 pi divided by 260 is 9.47. So 9.5 if we're rounding to the nearest 10. Let's see if we got it. We got it. All right. Shall we do another quiz? 1, 2, and 3 and get ready for derivatives and analyzing functions. Let's do one more quiz. Because this is calculus, right? Distance formula. Maybe you could do 2 more quizzes. Okay. 5 to 10 minutes. What do we got to lose? Mark the absolute minimum. Okay, there it is. The bottom of the bottoms. That right there is a relative minimum. Therefore is a relative maximum. There's an absolute maximum. And there's a relative maximum. You remember those from Algebra 2? Jada sells ground paprika. P of W models Jada's weekly profit in dollars, where a negative profit means she lost money, as a function of the total weight of paprika W she sold over that week. Match the statement with the future. Okay. So let's make sense of this problem. Negative 250, something like that. That would be, if she doesn't sell any paprika, then she is going to lose $250. If she sells 35 kilograms, wow, 35 kilograms of paprika, she will break even. And then after that, she will be profitable. So the y-intercept, that's right there. Yep, if she doesn't sell, she'll lose that 250 right there. Positive interval, it means we are above. That's positive, and this is negative. So make sure that you know your positive and negative intervals, and also your increase and decrease. Oh, right there it is. So the more she sells, the more profit she makes. Actually, that's increasing. So it's increasing, and that's why that's true. But here, we know that the positive is after 35 and the negative is before 35. So that's how that goes. All right. Ooh, cubic. Select the interval where f is decreasing. So that doesn't mean that it's negative. That means that it's going down. So it's going down there, then it goes up, and then right here, goes down for a very long time. Anything in those two regions. Let's see what we got. -2 to -1.5. Negative, nope, it's increasing there. -1 to 0. Nope, it's increasing there. 0 to 1. 0. Oh, there we go. 0 to 1. The old 0 to 1. Quartic, degree 4. Where is it positive? It's positive right here and also at the ends. -4 to -2. No, it's negative down there. -1 to 1. Yes, it's above the graph. How about 2 to 4? No. And okay, relative minimum points. That's a absolute minimum. And then so is a relative minimum an absolute? Is it absolute minimum or relative minimum? Well, relative to the points around it, it is a minimum. So is it a relative minimum? I think so. You know what? We better do another quiz. All right. Try not to make this one too long, but you gotta admit that was pretty easy. Okay. What is the distance between the following 2 points? So, we could use the distance formula, right? D equals x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. But, so you can use that, just like the slope formula. But it's also nice to use the Pythagorean theorem. -2 to 7 is 9. Then we could just do 9 squared, 2 squared, 81, 4, 85. Square root of 85. However you can do the question the quickest, that's the way you should do it. Pythagorean theorem or the distance formula. Okay, so square root equations. Just make sure before you square both sides, you get the square root on its own side. So let's put that -6 over on the other side. And then we have negative root z squared minus z equals, divide by -1, divide by -1. So now we get the square root of z squared minus z equals -8 plus z plus 6. And now we're going to square both sides. Oh, better combine these. That's a z. Don't forget that. Then that's going to be -2. So z minus 2. Well, that's confusing because my z looks like a 2. Okay, so I'm squaring that. So then we get z squared minus 4z plus 4 equals z squared minus z. The nice thing is the z squareds cancel out on both sides. And then we can move the 4z over. And we end up with 3z equals 4. So z must equal 4/3. What did I forget? Did I forget to substitute it back in to see if it actually works? Or did I forget a negative? Why don't I just look and see? I think that I forgot to substitute it back in to see if it works. So that's important. After you solve an equation, sometimes you get an extraneous solution. Why do you have to do this? Because when you square it, you get 2 possibilities, right? And sometimes one of them doesn't actually work, like what happened to us here. So when you're doing these square root equations, you got to make sure, unlike Mr. Field, you substitute it back in, and then you see if you do get an equality. In this case, we did not, so it did have no solutions. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, go ahead and put it in the organizer. What is the length of this line? You could do that. Do the distance formula or the Pythagorean theorem. Solve. Okay, so let me just show you with this one. We want to put them on their own sides. The only thing is, if I do put them on their own sides, then there's going to be a negative in front. So still do that. Okay. Then we would square both sides. Get 3x minus 7. So I'm thinking, I got to pause this one. You know what? While I was away, I just said, I think it has no solution because look, that one has a negative in front. So I cannot get the square roots on their own side without, see, that's what I did. That's what I did. And then since the square root of a number is always greater than or equal to 0, we know that, then we got the negative in front. That's going to make it negative. And then this square root can never equal a negative number in the real number system. Oh, now it makes so much more sense. There you go. Distance formula, you can do it. You don't need my help for that. Okay, power through. Quiz 3. We're calculus students. We could do this. Mickey Mouse. All right. Zeros of polynomials, positive and negative intervals. Pasha, we got this. We got this. And it's only going to take 5 to 10 minutes. All right. So we want to plot all the zeros. Boom, boom, boom. Where are those zeros? Well, it's cubic. Also, it has 4 terms. So what do you think when you see 4 terms? Because I know I have one thing that I think. And that one thing is factor by grouping. All right, so let's find our GCFs. X squared for the first one. And the second one, I see a -9. Okay, so x squared, and then that makes that 2x plus 3. This is going to work out well. -9 out front, and then that makes that 2x plus 3. Look at that. So then we get x squared minus 9, and we get times 2x plus 3. So factoring by grouping, good stuff. But we're not done yet because we know x squared minus 9 is x plus 3, x minus 3. And then, of course, the 2x plus 3. So what, friends, are the zeros? Now that we have factored form, can you tell me? Hopefully you're saying -3, 3, and -3 over 2. Or -1.5, right? So let's plot those. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Wow. I almost had them just putting them on the graph. They were almost in the right spot. Amazing. Okay, what is the sign of the interval from -2 to 5? Okay. So, all right. So let's think about that. The sign of f is the y value positive or negative. Well, we know that it's 0 here at 2 and it's 0 here at 5. But what about -3? -3 is in between -2 and -5. So let's choose -3 as a test point since it's in that interval, and then we'll know. We don't actually have to plug everything in. We could just say -3 squared times -3 plus 2 times -3 minus 2 times -3 minus 5. So this is going to be positive times negative times negative times negative. So 3 negatives and a positive is negative. So if we pick a test point and it's negative, then it's going to be negative. Because it's going in between the zeros, and so it's going to go down and back up, but the whole time it will be negative. What, did I get it wrong? I got it wrong. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can find my mistake. Did I not pick something on the interval? Okay. So they're not consecutive zeros. Whoopsie daisies. Okay. So I found it between +2 and +5. And it's saying that was actually -2 and 5. So we had to pick not one, but 2 test points. Is that right? So they picked -1 as a point on the interval. And then they had to find out the other interval. So sometimes, so one time it was negative, one time it was positive. So I apologize. I used this too, but I should have used this too and saw that they're not consecutive zeros. Otherwise, my answer would have been right. All right. Feels good to get some wrong, you know, shows that, I don't know. What could be the equation of P? Well, all right. It's degree 4. That's for sure, right? Because it's got those 3 turns. It's also in a W kind of thing. So it has a positive leading coefficient. These are the things that I know. So I'm going to need 4 zeros. Oh, and also how about the multiplicities? The multiplicities. How does the graph go through its zeros? You know about this? So if it crosses through, that means the 0 has a degree of 1. But if it touches, then that 0 has a degree or multiplicity of 2. And sometimes the function can even wiggle through the 0, which would be a degree of 3. So let's find one where the zeros, where we see x minus 3 is going to have to be squared. X plus 3 is going to be normal. And then x plus 1/2, something like that, 2x plus 1 is going to be degree 1. So it's looking like this guy right here. All right. F of x equals x times 4x plus 9, x minus 2, 2x minus 9, x plus 5 has zeros at. What is the sign in the interval? You can do it. Go for it. You don't need my help for that one. Hey, look at that. We want to find the zeros of this. Plot all the zeros. Okay, factor that, plot the zeros. You can do it. We're done. That's a good starter video for you, and I know you're going to get 100%.